Voicer Plays Slatina is an audio guide narrated by teenagers about the built heritage of their town. Thank you for visiting our city and listening to our audio guide.
Welcome to the Holy Trinity Church in Slatina. The Holy Trinity Church is the oldest church in Slatina. A church existed on this site as early as 1645, built by Ghinea Slugerul, a boyar in charge of supplying the royal court and the army during the reign of Matei Basarab. The reign of Matei Basarab was a long one, according to the standards of the time, 22 years. This political stability, as well as his leadership skills, led to a period of prosperity and the flourishing of arts, including architecture. Numerous churches were built in the 17th century, both by the ruler and by boyars who followed his example, including Ghinea Slugerul.
This first church suffered significant damage in 1771 during the wars between the Russian and the Ottoman empires. These wars occurred throughout the 18th century on the territory of Wallachia and Moldavia, causing considerable damage to the local population. The church was rebuilt in 1784. The elements surviving from the previous church are the big bell and the inscription above the main entrance, containing information about the patron saint, the founder, and the year of construction. Almost 100 years later, in 1886, due to the wave of modernization and westernization typical of the 19th century, the church was modified yet again. But the most remarkable change is the repainting of the church by Constantin Petrescu, a pupil of Gheorghe Tattarescu.
Gheorghe Tattarescu was the most famous church painter of his period. He stood out for his choice of Western-style painting, focused on a faithful rendering of reality. This was in contrast to traditional Byzantine painting, based on the standardized representation and the aspiration to depict the moral features of the characters. The painting in a nearby Slatina cathedral is attributed to Gheorghe Tattarescu. The Holy Trinity Church, in the form you see today, is the result of restoration works completed in 2021. These aimed to restore the church to its original 18th century image, considered more valuable than the 19th century one. Inside, however, the paintings by Constantin Petrescu have been preserved. The church has an architecture typical of Wallachia, with the exterior walls divided into three areas: the base or pedestal, a simple smooth middle area, and an upper area decorated with arches. The last two areas are separated by a belt of jagged bricks that surrounds the church.
A remarkable element are the stone window surrounds, carved in Gothic style. These are usually found in Catholic churches, but the style traveled from Poland to Moldova, and later, during the reign of Matei Basarab, from Moldavia to Wallachia. Vasile Lupu, the ruler of Moldavia, a contemporary of Matei Basarab and his adversary in numerous wars, erected a Moldavian church in Wallachia as a sign of peace. For his part, Matei Basarab sent craftsmen to build a Wallachian church in Moldavia. The two buildings made a strong impression on the inhabitants, and the new elements were soon copied and used in local architecture, helping create a synthesis between the Wallachian and Moldavian styles. The Holy Trinity Church is an excellent illustration of this synthesis and a valuable aesthetic and historical object.
This text was narrated by
Denisa, Luță,
and by
Emilia, Diaconu.
I walk like a ghost the dilapidated streets of the old city, when I see a whitewashed ray among the grey clouds of history. Unable to resist the call, I hurry towards the porch.
You've been listening to short extracts from our stories written during the creative writing workshop. The buildings that you have visited have a special meaning for us. The stories speak about us and our connection to these places. If you're curious about them, we invite you to read them in full on our website. The audio guide was recorded by teenagers during the Voice Your Place Slatina 2025 workshops.